Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Eeks and Geeks. I am Siberia.
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Pumpkin.
And that was
Yay.
smooth, but
And we're getting really good at this.
yeah, and we almost have like a legit podcast, so you know.
Shout out to our new listener, Miss Lady Epi.
Yeah.
Queen of my heart is Lady Epi.
If you get if you get to this episode, hey.
How y'all doing? So before we get into it, did anyone watch anything this week? Well, I guess can we talk about how we were together and now we're not?
Oh
We
my
were
gosh.
together.
We were all together this weekend.
We were pirates.
Yeah,
We were
We
going
Pride
to
Month.
cabin.
We had so much fun.
we
I
did.
know.
I miss it. I've been in a daze all week. I've just been like,
I literally came home and I was like, tomorrow I'm going to work on stuff. And then tomorrow came and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
And I didn't until today.
You didn't work on anything till Wednesday?
Okay. But I don't want to it.
Look at you, see this iron behind me? I've been
Mm.
ironing shit.
Oh,
This
I
is-
got my serger threaded today. Cut that out.
yeah.
Okay.
Cut that out.
Spoilers!
Yeah, sorry.
Just feel like a big like
I think
black sensor box over it.
After her
I'm gonna
universe,
do
we have
that.
to make a TikTok out of that moment.
I could put it in our blooper reel that I'll make someday.
Oh, the immediate walk back. Cut that out.
The sergeant,
It's like, what?
we all went.
Anyways.
I also have not watched anything besides TV shows.
Nope.
Has it no one's watched anything?
No, because we were
movies.
together.
Oh, we
all
were
week.
together.
I'm trying to think if I have.
I watched your beautiful faces as you slept.
Wait.
I mean, the whole house was connected. You never know.
Oh, that's what that feeling was. Okay.
It was me leaning over your bed, like
Oh,
Or-
okay.
Our Airbnb did have a very scary barbarian-esque room
Yeah.
in it that was
The-
completely empty. It was giving
And very
a
long.
room with a bucket and a bed.
yeah.
The way that we just watched Barbarian and then
And then we
I-
said,
No, I got to that Airbnb first alone, and there's a whole side of the house just like locked off. All the curtains are shut, and I was like, "I'm gonna get murdered. I'm gonna get murdered here.
You're like, hey guys, when are you gonna be here?
I'm gonna be here because
Yeah, that was a close one.
we survived."
yeah.
narrowly.
No, we had a great time. We had a Star Wars pool party.
We did.
We did have a Star Wars pool party. Okay.
Anyway.
So we are watching The Night House, which is about a woman whose husband very recently died. And she is continuing to live in the home in which he built for her. And some strange things start happening. So I kind of just want to pop into some final thoughts real quick. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
I'm going
it.
to go in order of my screen. So Pumpkin, hit me with it.
I liked it. I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. It was definitely a mind fuck because like I think most of my notes are just me theorizing. I was like, oh, I see what's going on here. And then 10 minutes later I was like, no, I don't. Never mind. But I liked a lot of the camera work. There was like a lot of really cool, creepy shots that have you kind of like, what am I? Oh, that's a person. There's a person. I think the only thing, and this happens with a lot of horror movies, it was a lot scarier for me until I found out what was going on. And then I was like, oh, well, I mean, I guess that's creepy, but whatever. Like, I feel like the unknown is scarier than like
It always
whatever.
is.
Yeah. And I thought some of like not the actors, I guess is probably like writing or directing choices, but some of the ways the like characters reacted to things, I was like, why would you say that in this situation? But otherwise, yeah, I really liked it. 8 out of 10.
Oh yeah. I kind of already know what you think, but Lauren.
This is my second time seeing it, and I just think this is such a unique and it's just such a good movie. I think it does an excellent job of like Pumpkin said, like consistently you just do not know what's happening, and not in the same way as Barbarian where you're just like this there's like one spot where it takes a twist that you like have no idea what's going on, but it just like it consistently leads you in sort of like you're in little tangents in your own head of like theorizing what could be going on, and it gets like pretty like within the last 10 to 20 minutes of the movie that it like is revealed. And I think the concept of the way the like the meaning of the note changes from being like nothing is after you, you're safe, to being like nothing
is
like a person that is like the name of a thing is after you is like so chilling and unique. And I love the way that they do like her transition from sort of like the real world to like the night house world is very cool, and I think it's one that leaves you on the edge of your seat for the whole movie. Has some good jump scares. I agree with some of the camera work. Like I think watching it a second time, knowing how they utilize some of those things, I saw more of them the second time, like seeing the outline of the face in certain shots.
So
I was like,
many shots.
Yes, I was like, oh, it's like way more happening than I saw it the first time. So I would give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Slay.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Kirsten.
I wrote my thoughts down for this one.
Okay.
I went through so many emotions watching this. I started off curious, then I got a bit bored. Then I went back to being curious, then I got back to being bored again. It was reaching like the 30-minute mark, and it was kind of average for me. Then the scene happened at the end where she was on the boat, and I got very emotional. As someone who struggled with severe depression in the past, it felt a lot like what I saw, feeling like you're going to slip and then hearing voices to bring you back. All in all, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Yeah.
All right.
I got very emotional watching that scene. I was like, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have maybe trigger warning.
Oh, did you? Oh no, wait, we did. Never mind. Sorry.
Huh?
What I also liked about this is that like there's movies that like when you are trying to figure out what happened, I felt like I did it so much in this. I'm like, oh, he cheated. Oh, he is into murder porn. Oh, he cheated. Oh, he like
yeah, I kept thinking I had it figured out, and I was like, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Never mind.
So that's what I liked, is that I couldn't guess it. And then at the end, I was like, yep, it's the murder porn theory. Nope,
it's really not.
It's really not the murder porn theory. All right.
Yeah, it's just so clever. Like the fact that he knows about nothing and he's like trying to trick it, and he's like keeping all this away from her. It's like it's a plot that you would never be able to guess.
Yeah.
I think the hallmark of a good mind fuck.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah,
just
ending,
like, huh?
Yeah,
and it's like
really
not one that you can't really like compare it to anything, because it's just so like I've never seen a movie that has a plot like that, which is so fun to watch.
Yeah, the ending is what really solidified me. I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. Because it put everything in perspective. Yeah.
I also think she's an amazing actress.
Oh, so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
The way she sort of has her own way of dealing with grief in a way I think you maybe don't see a lot portrayed in media, but I think is a way people in real life definitely deal with it. Like that part where she's talking to the mom at the
so nonchalant
counselor meeting, where she's like, yo, my husband fucking killed himself last week, so I don't really give a shit about like your son's grade in a speech class. And mom's just like,
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I mean we'll get to it, but like,
honestly,
I think
she was real for that.
Oh my god, absolutely. And like the way that she talks about it with her friends, it's like she just has such a I think
it
an
is what it is
way.
attitude.
Yeah, she's just like, we're talking about it like it happened, and like a sense of like she's got to go on with her life, but we see her at home and she's struggling so much, not only with like obviously she's heavily drinking, but like there's also like an actual presence in her house, so she's dealing with a lot of things. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah,
this was my second time watching it, and the first time I watched it, I was literally just like the whole time I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I was nervous that it would like lose some of that for me on the second watch, But honestly, it was long enough, I guess, between watches that today I was like, wait, what does happen?
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
had the
It's like,
same. I had the exact same
I was like,
experience.
do I actually remember?
I know. I was like, wait, what is it? What is he doing? I was like, I remember that there's the girls in the house, but I was like,
Yes.
why does he? I don't remember why he does that. And then when it all came back to me, I was like, oh, yeah, no, what? I couldn't even guess it the second time after having watched it.
So I was also. Oh,
I was gonna say I went and watched a couple of like deep dives after it. That's how you know like the movies when I like go on YouTube and I'm like and because
Ending
I'm like,
explained.
yeah, that's literally what I did. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I weird for thinking this is about depression?
Oh, it's very
and
much
then
about depression.
there's like it makes me want to go back and rewatch it because they're like, did you see this? And I'm like, nope, I didn't. Oh, well, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna get my final thoughts. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I loved that on the second rewatch, it was just as effective for me because like it's just such a crazy mindfuck that I almost feel like there's no way you can remember all of it from the first watch, and so the second watch is still going to be like, oh, okay, got it. And then I really love the acting of this whole entire movie. I think she's amazing. I think the best friend is amazing, and I like the neighbor a lot.
Yes,
he's very,
the best
very
friend is like the real MVP.
Like,
it's like she's amazing.
Yes, except for one thing at the end that I'm like, girl. We'll get to it. It's like the very end of the movie.
Okay.
But I just love how this movie deals with grief because, like you said, it's a way we don't see it happen very often in a way that's like so masked to everyone in her life. Like she doesn't have anyone in her life that she's like crying on their shoulder. Like she's very much just going through this with the brandy bottles alone. Well, and nothing, that king in the background.
And her good pal nothing.
Yeah. And I know I'm beating a dead horse, but the cinematography in this movie just like really blows me away. Like the use of the reverse and like how you can tell she's in the night house when they like show the time and it's like backwards and you're like, okay,
we're here.
Buckle in. So upon rewatch, I gave this an 8.5 too. So I feel like we're all right.
We're all like the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
at one point,
out at like an 8.2.
I think so. Yeah.
It'd be like an 8.25 or whatever. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. At one point, I was like, he has a double life. I was going through so many scenarios, and I was like,
oh, my whole notes is just like, oh, I see what's going on here.
She is from a movie that I watched earlier this year because watching it again, I was like, ooh, she's familiar. She was in a movie I watched earlier this year called Resurrection, which is like another sort of horror movie about a woman who's like an spiritually abusive person like comes back into her life and she was like incredible in that too. So watching it again, I was just like, oh, she's got such great mannerisms. I really like.
Yeah, I love her acting.
Yeah,
because she just feels very like her face is very like, and her mannerisms are very like 21st century. Like she fits this genre of movie very well. I'm like, yeah, you're just a girl.
She sort of reminds me of Fleabag, if you guys have seen that show. She's sort of like
Waller Bridge.
Yes, she like something about her sort of is like Fleabag adjacent in her mannerisms.
Yeah, I liked her in The Neighbor, but her I don't know about you guys, but like the bar scene with her coworkers, it was very strange to me. I was like, what is this?
That coworker went too far with his question.
Oh my gosh,
I have
invasive.
I have thoughts about that scene when we get to it.
Should we just get into the plot then?
Let's do it.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry. Okay. Chapter 1. They're all kind of long because this is a convoluted movie.
It's a long one too.
A woman named Beth has just lost her husband Owen to suicide. He has left her a lakeside home where she starts to stay in order to process her grief. For a moment, she feels as though there is a shadowy image behind her. After sleeping there for the night, she goes to the dock where Owen's boat was, the same one he used in his final moments, and there are footprints there. Beth works as a high school teacher. She is visited by Becky, the mother of one of her students, Hunter. She comes in to protest a C grade that Hunter got for his final assignment, which had been graded while Beth was out grieving. After being pressed by Becky, Beth explains to her how Owen took the boat out to the lake with a handgun and shot himself through the mouth. Becky is left feeling guilty and accepts the B grade for Hunter. Later that night, she goes to a grief counseling session with her best friend, Claire. While staying at the house, Beth finds floor plans for the house indicating that Owen was building something there before he died. Later that night, Beth starts to hear music playing from downstairs. She gets a text from Owen's phone that tells her to go downstairs. When she calls the phone, the music stops and she hears what sounds like Owen's voice telling her to look out the window. Beth goes to the window, looks outside to see what Owen standing naked by the beach. Beth then wakes up from the dream. She goes to find Owen's phone and opens it to see that there was no other text from him besides the last one he left before death. As she looks through the phone some more, Beth comes across a picture of a woman in a bookstore who looks exactly like her. Discuss.
Every time the music would come on in the house, would you not when he texts, I think
Don't be afraid.
When he's like, don't be afraid, it's like, oh bitch, it's too late for that. Yeah, the music started playing downstairs. It's so scary.
Yeah, getting a text from your dead loved one, not chill.
Fuck that.
Not good vibes.
Is too glass.
Oh my god,
the doors,
way too much glass.
There's no curtains. I was like, girl, get some fucking curtains. I don't like that anybody can see into your house. I hate that.
The fact that specifically the glass door, I was like, who the fuck would want a glass door? Who in their
right mind would want that?
The front door?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like the back door, okay.
Maybe, yeah.
But
this
front
husband
door?
was like, I'm trying to hide you from this evil presence, but I'm going to keep this an open floor plan.
Yeah, for real.
I gotta say, for most of this movie, I thought the house or the lake was haunted. And so I was like, girl, go to a hotel. Why do you keep sleeping here? And then you like find out later it wouldn't have helped her. It's like a paranormal activity type situation. But I was like, why do you keep sleeping here?
It does make you beg the question, like, is she all there? Is she seeing things? Is this really happening? And I think that sort of adds to the like, and obviously it's framed very much that she's dreaming in a lot of those scenes. So it's like, you don't really know if anything's happening.
Well, that scene at the beginning when she's at school and she's looking at houses on Zillow and then like an hour has passed and now she's like gun shopping.
Yeah.
And you're like, is she like seeing things or like what is like she's an unreliable narrator and I love that.
Yes. I love being confused by the main bitch.
Yes, don't
I'm like, she doesn't know what's going on and neither do I.
That like image of like I think it's like in a door where she sees like it looks like a person's head. Like I had to like double take and then she moved it. I was like, oh
and then head.
Yes,
I hate that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, this is the one in like the cabinet door where she like
this is the cabinet door,
Oh, there's one where it's like in the glass of the door, and I think it's one that I hadn't seen the first time, and it's just because it's so subtle. But I felt like this time, have you guys seen Invisible Man?
Yeah.
It was very reminiscent to me of that, where you're like, once you know what's happening, it's like whenever there's whenever the screen is like there's a lot of blank space and she's small in it, it had me just like eyes darting around all of the blank space.
What I love about this genre of movie, like this and all the paranormal activities. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm gonna see something in the background.
Yeah, I got a lot of Invisible Man like vibes, especially like, well, we'll get to it, but like when she like hugs the thing at the end, I was like, this is a very Invisible Man.
Speaking of looking for stuff, I felt so dumb because when she like looks at the pictures on her husband's phone and she sees another woman and she's like zooming in, I like paused it and I was like, what are we looking for? And then she was just like, that's not me. And I was like,
we're looking at the woman.
I did the same thing. I was like, wait, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I was like,
well, it really does look so much like her in that first picture. It's like, I would think it was.
I was looking for like a guy amongst the books or something. I was like, what are we looking at?
I did the same thing.
Here's my thing is like, why does she keep staying in the house? But why does she stay in that house in the first place? Like, I could not even get within like miles of that home if that had just happened to me.
Especially when the neighbor offers to like take the boat and she's like, no, we'll sell it with the house. I'm like, get rid of the
Get rid of
Yeah.
that fucking boat, girl.
You can
It's
get rid of
haunted.
the boat. Yeah.
Like, no, I couldn't stay in that house. I couldn't have that boat there.
No.
I'd
And
be
also, what a weird dock, girl.
Oh, that's the staircase
complicated.
The part there was a part that I was just like, oh, like it was so horrible. It's the part where she's laying in bed and nothing paranormal is happening, but she's looking at the bed and she's just like looking at his pillow and just I was like,
she like pets
oh.
where he used to sleep.
Oh, that was
That's like when it like hits you that you're like, okay.
like just imagining like I don't know, that was a moment that it was just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. Like
yeah.
Nope.
horrible.
Also, it was a great way to deal with a Karen. The way that she
Oh my God.
The way she talks to that mom is so fucking funny. She's like, my husband just
I had
shot
no
himself
idea.
in the head
Like-
last Thursday, so I
Like,
really
I
don't
had no
fucking
idea
care.
that she's like, yeah, because it's a personal matter. Why the fuck would you?
Yeah.
I'd have the same energy too, like, because I hate when people use that it was a personal matter. Yeah, well, he missed it because it was a personal matter. And I'm sitting there thinking, I hate when people
He's
throw
fucking
that.
12.
Yeah, what personal matter is he going through?
Yeah.
Also, you knew he had like a makeup thing to get his grade up and he didn't
Yeah.
fucking do it.
He didn't do it.
Well, just her being like, well, what did you want? And the girl's like, well, what do you mean? She's like, what did you want when you came in here? She's like, a B, there you go. An A?
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Is that what you want? You want an A?
And the mom's like, I'll just take a B is
I'll
fine.
I'll take a B.
She's like, okay, B.
I would have went, no, just give him a C.
Yeah. You know what? Give him an
Actually,
F.
he can fail this class. I am so sorry. I'm
He'll
gonna get out of
retake it. He'll
here.
retake it.
I would feel like such a fuckhead after
Oh
that.
my God.
Like-
You would never recover from that.
Is this also where she meets up with her coworkers?
No, I don't
No.
know.
That's
Okay.
like, have you guys seen people on TikTok say that their favorite when people are like, so when are you gonna have children or whatever, their favorite thing is just be like, I actually just recently had a miscarriage. Just to like fuck with people. So they're like, oh
Maybe-
my God.
You're like,
I'm
maybe
so-
don't ask. Yeah.
Even if
That's-
it's like your mom.
Right.
I would never do that to my mom. But like a stranger, that's kind of, I'm gonna do that. That's funny.
Little
That's
lesson.
A lesson to stop asking people questions like that.
Yeah.
Although, so we were talking about how bad like the grief feels and everything, like where her husband used to sleep and all that. But can you imagine thinking like that you found evidence that not only like was your husband like
Yeah.
now he's been depressed so bad that he killed himself, but also he was cheating on you?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I got
mind fuck of it all.
Yeah.
And then like, and I get her best friend trying to like, her advice is good, but somebody being like, just don't think about it right now. It's like, how could you not?
What else?
Yeah, like what?
I mean, she's at home like watching all of their VHS tapes of them.
Yeah.
It's like she's not in a place where she's like not thinking about it. It's like
Yeah.
she's gonna think about it.
which I don't think I could watch any kind of
Mm-mm.
anything for like.
It's so sad to like watch her just like sitting by herself, drinking
Because you're
herself to
almost
death.
like, no, stop! It's too soon. Like, stop it!
Mm-hmm.
No, I get it. I have a voicemail from my grandpa on my phone singing me happy birthday. And like when he passed away, I
Aw.
would play it. Like I played it like almost every night, like after he passed away. So I understand like why she would do it.
Yeah, but when she was like putting all of the pictures like away in a box, I was
Yeah.
like, I get that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
I can't fucking do this
Yeah,
right
you
now.
need to like not see. for a
Oh yeah, and I
second.
understand like her just like getting the like instinct to go up and just like shove all his clothes like in
Yeah.
a box, like get it
Mhm.
out.
But I
Mhm.
just can't like that moment where she was like, that's not me in this picture. I was like
Yeah, when she's
like
Well,
my
and it-
like my heart like
Like
dropped.
you obviously you're like, oh, it's just a picture of her in a bookstore.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like,
Well-
oh, that's cute. He took like a little candid picture of you, and then she's like, that's not me. And I was like,
Oh,
your
Well, to
dead
me, I
husband
think-
cheated on you.
I think the first time I watched it, I almost had the feeling that it could be something as innocuous as just like maybe he saw someone that looked like her and like took a picture and maybe like meant to send it to her to be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this girl at the bookstore looks exactly like you. That's like sort of the thought that I had. But then when she finds like all the pictures, it's like,
Oh.
oh, I don't, I don't think
That
that's
that was like number one start of my theory. I was like, he's cheating and that girl probably murdered him. Like, That was like my first like theory.
Wow.
I'll
Okay.
point out all my theories as we go along.
Yeah, no,
my brain jumped everywhere.
my first theory was that he had been cheating and he knew he was gonna get caught, and that's why he killed himself. And now, like, his ghost was haunting her for some reason. That was my first kind of like, okay, I think we're going somewhere in that direction. Which we were not. I was very off.
No. Not even a little.
Not even close.
Okay. Chapter 2. The next day, Beth joins Claire and some friends for drinks. Although they try to avoid the subject of Owen's death, it comes up and Claire mentions that he left a suicide note. It reads, "You are right, there is nothing. Nothing is after you. You're safe now." Claire takes Beth back to the lake house, where Beth tells Claire that she once had an accident where she was dead for 4 minutes, and she told Owen that she saw nothing in that time, feeling like she was going through an endless tunnel. And she thinks that's what Owen was implying in his note. Beth appears to fall asleep by herself when Claire, seemingly having disappeared, she is drawn outside by what sounds like Owen's voice again. She goes to the dock and finds bloody footprints that appear to be walking toward her. Beth reaches her hand out and feels something. When she goes back towards the house, she sees herself and Owen in the bedroom window, with Owen trying to kiss Beth, but she pulls away from him. When Beth runs back to the house, it is morning, and she finds herself asleep on the couch and in turn awakes from the dream again. Discuss.
Can I just say, even if the person I loved most in the world, my mom, even if I was 100% sure that the ghost in front of me was my mom, I would still be like, "Don't touch me." That's you can just we can maybe like have a let's have like a convo through a Ouija board or something, but don't fucking touch me. I'm still scared of you.
Also, this technically goes back to the last section, but the second I saw a bloody footprint on my dock, hey, someone, there's footprints on my dock.
But then they're gone the next time she looks, so it's like you would just feel crazy.
Picture.
I would be calling up the nearest hotel. Listen, I gotta stay tonight. I can't fucking do this. No.
Yeah, and then if I saw them forming in front of me, it's like Scooby-Doo running.
This is my second theory. I was like, because she like has that dream and she sees their house in the distance. I was like, that's a second house across the way. Definitely has another family over there. Something happens. That was my second theory. She's got a second family over there in that house. She's gonna go to that house.
No, see, at this point, I was having some theory about like an alternate dimension version of him.
Oh,
it kind of is in a way.
I was like, oh, he's got like a evil doppelganger that lives in like an opposite dimension that's mirrored to their world, and this one, I don't know what it has to do with the girls on it in the pictures, but like something like that. That was where I was going at that point.
And I love hearing that you guys were confused and theorizing. That's making me like be like, yeah,
we got him. Okay, let's talk about the friend outing.
Oh my god! First of all, when she makes, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh no, that was just making that face where he's like, "Tell me everything."
When she makes a joke about it, and then her friend goes, "That's not funny," and it's like, bitch, don't tell her how to grieve.
Maybe don't laugh if it makes you uncomfortable, but don't tell her what she can and can't joke about right now.
Yeah, that I don't know why, but a lot of the probably not the acting, but just like the scripting or the writing or whatever for that whole scene in the bar, it just felt so like odd. I was like, I don't know anybody who talks like this.
That's not funny.
I think it's interesting. I like that scene. I do think people ask questions like that. And obviously you see it and you're just like, oh my God, shut the fuck up. But like the friend being like, well, did he leave a note? It's like obviously so inappropriate to ask, but it's not like people don't think it. It's not like there's people that wouldn't say it. So it's like, I don't know. It's a very uncomfortable scene, but I like it still.
Yeah.
When she like pulls out the suicide note and just starts reading it in front of them, just in a busy bar, I was like, Girl.
She's
Whoa.
like, you keep it in your
Whoa.
purse.
Honestly, I love that. I love that energy that she was bringing because her friends were being dicks. Besides Claire, Claire was the one
Yeah,
that was
it's
like, "Shut up,
it's
shut up."
like if you're
shut up.
gonna ask uncomfortable
There's-
questions, like I'm gonna answer them, and like
Yeah,
however that makes you feel, you
like
asked
yeah,
them,
here's a
so
note.
here's your
It's
answer.
right
Yeah,
here.
they're like, ah.
The fact that she had it on her and it had the splatter of
The
blood in
blood.
the corner, and you could tell he was like, "Oh."
And then he's like, "That's it." She's like, "Yep,
Yeah.
that's
Also,
it."
You happy?
at the beginning of the conversation when she was like, do you guys believe in ghosts? And the one coworker is like, ghosts? Like how? I was like ghosts. bitch.
Ghosts.
What do you mean? Ghosts. You don't know what
Like,
a fucking ghost
Ghosts
is?
like how?
Like the band Ghosts. No, they
She's
don't
like,
exist.
which way do you mean?
Like Danny
No, I know, Ghost
Phantom.
Pepper.
No,
Do you know Danny
Hon-
Phantom?
Honestly, now you're making it seem like a more valid question. I'm like, ghosts like how? Valid.
yeah.
So many different ways.
Do you mean like Casper the Friendly Ghost?
I mean
Casper.
paranormal
I barely know
activity,
her.
bitch.
Is this also the scene where she finds that like weird like diagram of a house?
Oh yeah, is this when she's like flipping
I
through?
think it's the next one.
Okay.
Okay.
That was when another theory popped in my head.
Oh wait, it says she goes to one's phone for long.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
So she
is
goes
when
through all the
sees
books
the
and stuff?
diagrams.
So this was another theory.
Oh wait,
I
no.
had. Oh.
I was in the next section. It is the next section.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well then I'll wait.
Sorry.
Where did this one end?
Wait.
Where did this
The
section
next-
end?
This section ends with her running into the living room and like
Oh,
she's
back into the
on the
house. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What I was like, girl, you need to lay off the brandy. Your dreams are weird.
Well,
That part
she
where the friend
sees,
comes
like,
over and
woman in the house.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
What?
She sees like the woman being caressed by Owen in the
Mhm.
house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
that's-
like, girl, you gotta stop drinking. These dreams are really weird.
When her friend comes over later and she's like, never acquired a taste for it. It's like, well, that's when you know
It's
it's
like-
bad. If you're just drinking the alcohol that you don't even like.
Yeah, well, oh my, and she did not need another drink at that point.
When
either.
she's just pouring it into cups, like not a sipper, like she's just pouring it like a Kool-Aid.
Like apple juice, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh wait, I have a question because now it's coming up. What was the reason for the girls jumping off the cliff in that like nightmare?
Oh,
scene?
that scene scared the
Scared shit out of me.
Yeah.
The one that comes like right next to her.
Yeah.
I think it's just like those manifestations, like it's sort of like in the night world, and they're bringing her attention to the house across the
Yeah.
lake.
Ah.
Because they all run into the lake, and that's when she sees the light on.
Yeah, because I completely forgot about them until now, and I'm like, oh wait, that was in there.
Scary
Yeah.
as fuck.
Also, I think the scariest part of the movie for me, like I was literally sitting here like, I think that's when I texted Laura and be like, this is spookier than I remember. Oh my god. Is when she wakes up from being on the friend's lap and it's just that loud noise.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And I
and
was
like
like,
the chimes are going. That was maybe the part that was like the hardest. It was either that or when the girl ran, that it was like a hard
I was like,
jump scare for me. I was like,
That one had a really good transition too, because it
Mhm.
was like, just stay until I fall asleep, and then it was
Yeah.
immediately into, like-
immediate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, such a good.
and she's like gone. Yeah.
timing.
so scary.
Yeah.
And it's like it's almost like it's loud, but it's like also no sound.
It's like intentional. It's like a ringing. It's like
Yeah, because
Mhm.
it's like you see the chimes going crazy, but it's not like chime sounds. It's just like.
Yeah.
God, that whole scene was stressing me the fuck
I
out,
know,
man.
I know. There's a line that she says later in the movie where she's just like, I wish it was morning. And it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
ain't that just a scary
Uh-huh.
movie? Like the thoughts you would be having is just like, I just want it to be morning.
Yeah.
The night is so scary.
The night.
Oof.
Night house.
The house of the night.
The night house.
Oh my. Center of the night house. The nut house. I don't-
Boo.
I was like, what?
Everybody,
Tomato,
shut
tomato.
What's
up.
that, huh?
Tomato,
Tomatoes.
Okay, y'all ready to go to chapter 3?
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. Beth wanders through the woods the next day and comes across the space that Owen was working on. She also runs into a neighbor, Mel, who is walking his dog and expresses concern over Beth going out by herself. Knowing what she is going through and fearing that she may do something reckless, Mel invites Beth over for lunch, where he later tells her that he did see Owen around the area with a woman that he thought was Beth, but when he goes to call out to her, he saw that it wasn't her. She goes through Owen's phone and belongings, finding more pictures of the woman from the bookstore, as well as other women who bear a resemblance to Beth. There is even an artifact called a Louvre doll, which is like a human figure impaled with 13 needles. Beth then visits the bookstore and meets the employee Madeline and the woman in Owen's pictures. Beth talks to her and reveals that she was Owen's wife and what happened to him, and Madeline all but confirms that she did spend time with Owen. When Beth returns home, she continues to be haunted by what she thinks is Owen's silhouette.
I hate that voodoo doll. When she
Yes.
pulled that out, I was like, put that
So
thing
scary.
down. Put that
Put
shit
that thing
down.
back, or so help me.
Put that thing back where it came from.
So help
me. So help me. And cut.
So
yeah,
this-
Joe. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is my theory when I was like, I gotta figure it out. I got it figured out. He has these like thoughts of like murder porn. Like he wants to have sex with life and kill her. So like he finds women and he takes all of that aggression out on them instead. I was like, I got to figure it out. This is it.
Because Mel is like, he has urges and he's like, I didn't ask to know what they were.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe posed the question, if you found that scary ass doll, he was like, would you like take it or would you try to destroy it? I was like, I wouldn't be doing nothing with that.
It would go right back where I found it.
Yeah, I would say
I'd drop it and run.
I would pick it up and I would say, no, put it back in that bag.
I would probably take a photo of it, but that's it.
I wouldn't want to have
I'd be like,
nothing to do with that.
I would wipe my memory. I never saw it. It doesn't exist.
Okay, question that
I understand.
Okay, I didn't ask anything yet, bitch. I don't remember if it's clearly explained, but how does he know that this thing is after her? Like enough to like get all these books and like get the voodoo doll and like how does he know that it's after her?
Oh
no, I remember. It says that he's like it's whispering
Yeah.
into his head. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I assume too, because Mel said he always saw him going for walks at night, that maybe he was up at night, which is when this thing apparently is like active.
Mm-hmm.
And so Beth never noticed it, but maybe he like started hearing it and seeing it at night and was like, oh, this shit, like this is after my wife.
When did this man sleep?
Yeah, he probably woke up and like saw it, like the shadow over her. Like,
Yeah. At this point, my theory was like somewhere along the lines of like, he like wanted. I had like dropped the doppelganger thing once we found out the house was real, and I was like, oh, he has like urges to kill his wife, but or like a demon or a spirit is telling him to kill his wife, and so he like takes it out on other women. I was
like an amiable horror type thing.
Although when she saw the bodies under there, I was like, call the police.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Is that not where did we end? That she
she goes to the house
found
once.
the house.
Yeah, she goes to the house once and then she goes back way
comes
later.
Back in the middle of the night when it's raining.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I got this mixed up.
But the neighbor, what a great neighbor. And I feel for him. Like
I love Mel.
If he knew this secret and he's probably just like, what do I do?
Well, because she also acts suspicious. She like is like he's like for a hike and she's like, no, I'm out.
She's like, no.
I'm like,
looking for a house.
Out on a hike.
Yeah, literally, just say you're on a walk.
I feel like if I was Mel and I saw that and like I had the thoughts in my head, I'd be like, did you murder your husband? Did you find out?
I would if I knew that like there was an extra house out here that he had been building and taking other women to it. The minute like he's dead now, so there's no threat there. The minute his wife was like, I'm looking for a house out here, I'd be like, okay, I know where it is. Just don't hurt me.
It's over here.
It's over here. I didn't know anything about it. Please don't hurt me.
Also, the way she phrased it, when she meets the girl from the bookstore, and she's just like, "Well, you don't have to worry. It's not a problem anymore. He's dead." I was like,
Oh my God.
you should
She's
not
like,
phrase
the
it
problem.
like that."
She goes, the problem has resolved itself.
Has resolved itself.
It's like, girl, the dark humor is dark.
Rampant.
Although that library girl, she was really cute.
When
She
she's like,
was.
she's like, the hair, take it down. And she's like, why? And she's like, because you fucked my husband and I'm asking nicely. I'd be like,
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, the way that she just like deals with people, there's something so compelling about it.
So
Just like,
confident.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yes.
just sick and tired of bullshit.
mhm. Well, it's like, what do you have to lose? It's like, I'm being haunted. My husband just fucking killed himself. It's like, who cares?
Take
School's
your
out
fucking
summer.
hair down,
Also,
bitch.
Yeah.
It's so funny because this synopsis, like whenever it names a character, it like has the actor in parentheses.
Mhm.
And so in this part it says, as well as other women who bear a resemblance to Beth, Caucasian brunette women.
They
Well,
do be
now.
Caucasian and brunette.
They do.
Right.
I'm trying to
This
think of
also
it.
covers when the girl like comes to her house.
Oh, that's an interesting
Because it's when she's
Reputation.
like, say something, if you're gonna say it, I'm leaving. And then the knock on the door, but it's the girl.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
her. Yeah, this would also cover like her looking through. She's like flipping through that book before she went to the bookstore. It's like he really figured it out. But that's my question: is like, how did he get? Okay, so if the thing is whispering in his ear, the thing's not going to be like, here's how to deal with it.
Well, it probably whispers at night, and then during the day he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
but, like,
I
yeah.
got
Well,
it.
he
Figure it
has that
out.
like occult book. So I think
Yeah.
he saw the stuff about like the voodoo and the mirror and whatever.
He was just on his own figuring it out journey.
He
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
he was studying.
yeah, he was like, this shit's haunting my house. I build you a backwards house, bitch. Get the fuck away from my wife.
You could
I'm gonna
probably
double it and give it to the next person.
you could probably create a whole horror movie on his perspective of it all too.
Honestly,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it would be amazing.
That would
It
be
so
so
I would
good,
love
yeah.
to see the prequel to this movie.
That would be really
Yeah.
dope because the way it looks like, I feel like I'm watching the aftermath of like a horror movie where like they're researching things and figuring out what this is.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like that would be like a cool, like if they did a prequel to see his perspective of it all and like how he got to the point where he like shot himself on the boat. Like,
yeah. That's such a good way to put it. Like,
yeah.
it's the aftermath of like a classic horror movie, and we're
Yeah.
sort of just getting like the trying to piece it together a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the girl just left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, actually I lied. So this part has the girl in it. And this
Oh.
is a short little section.
Okay.
Later on, Madeline visits Beth since Owen had also taken her to the lake house before. Madeline tells Beth that she had only kissed Owen, not slept with him, but he had attempted to choke her and she got away in time. Beth goes to the unfinished shed that Owen was working on and her foot goes through a floorboard there. Beth uncovers the corpses of several women, presumably.
Several women.
Okay,
Several woman.
name a woman.
Name a woman.
Presumably the women in Owen's photos. Beth tries calling Claire to tell her, but she just leaves her a tearful voicemail trying to deny what Owen really was.
Why doesn't he kill her?
I think that was
No.
I think that was like maybe his like last straw of like
His guilt.
this isn't working. Like I'm doing all of this. Like, yeah,
Like,
like the
he's
guilt.
like, I have to do this forever.
Yeah, it's like the guilt I think was settling in at that point because she said like he got like emotional with her. And
Mhm.
I think that was like his final like straw right there.
Yeah, she was like, he
Um,
was crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks because like from Beth's perspective, he was crying. It was like, okay, so he was crying to you and not me kind of thing. And then you're like,
Right.
nah. After you find out everything, you're like, no, it's someone
Well,
else.
I was wondering because like we just get it very briefly on like the page about the voodoo doll, and there's 13 spikes in it. So did he kill 13 women? And it was like, is that ever?
It was definitely not 30.
Okay.
I
We
don't
never
think they ever.
I think we saw like 4 or 5.
I thought the spikes was just
Oh, it was
like
more
to
than
show
that.
sacrifice of a woman.
Yeah, I think the voodoo doll just looked like that. I don't think there was like.
Okay,
a
I wasn't
specific-
sure.
Statue from the Louvre.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if he had to like get a certain number of like souls trapped in it.
I want a prequel now. I want to know.
I know.
I want to know the lore.
Mhm.
I
I want to see him like figuring it out.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for the best friend because Beth goes over to her house for dinner and is like talking about everything, whatever. And then when she decides to leave, Beth's best friend is like, I love you. And they're like, Beth just didn't say anything. It was just silence. And she just leaves. And I was like, ow.
Yeah.
And it would be so, I think the friend is such a good friend, but it would be so hard because like, obviously it would sound crazy if your friend was like, yeah, I think Owen's like haunting me in the house. And you're just like,
Okay.
as a friend, you would just be like, oh, I don't know if this is healthy.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like it's hard truth, but like coming from her, like if I was in that situation, I'd be like, you got to stop digging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like one of those points where it's like, you got to stop digging, you got to stop. And I know she probably sees it as like, you're not listening to me type of thing. So
because
like
then,
you're seeing like
from her perspective, she's like, I have real evidence. I have evidence.
She's like, I know something's in the house. Like, don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, the friend when she like what Pumpkin was saying, like when she just walks away after saying like I love you. Like if one of y'all did that to me, I'd be like, okay.
Okay. Owie.
But yeah, if I saw those bodies, I would call the police.
Immediately.
Oh my god.
Because
even real.
Like there's no fear that now they're gonna take your husband away or whatever. He's dead. Call the police.
Yeah.
I thought that's what she was doing when she went in and was on the phone. I was like, police. Nope, she's calling her best friend. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's like the part where when you see the bodies underneath, you're just like,
what?
He's killing her. Like, what the fuck is he doing?
That's when I was like, yep, murder porn. That's the theory.
It sort of that part reminds me of Disturbia. It's like when she like looks through that when he looks through the vent and there's like all the bodies in the vents.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch that movie?
Yeah.
Disturbia.
Yeah, I have. It's been a while though, but yeah.
Funky. You gotta watch Disturbia. That's a classic.
I haven't seen it.
You know what really good show has a lot of dead bodies?
What?
Hannibal. Everybody should watch Hannibal.
That's what I've heard.
I want to talk about Hannibal. It's so good. No, there's one scene with a lot of bodies, and you're like, "Hey, Hannibal, calm down, buddy."
Okay, when are we gonna go off the rails and everyone picks like a horror show and we all have to watch the whole show?
Don't have time for that.
Hill House.
Okay, you get Hill House, I'll get Bly Manor.
Time for this. I'm watching anime.
I highly recommend No Hill House. Oh my god, it's such a good show.
I couldn't get into it.
It's like the best episode series ever made.
I tried twice and I don't think I could get past the second episode.
Oh my god, it's so
that is so your fault.
I don't think I've heard of it. What is it about?
You haven't heard of
it? I
Hill
don't
House?
want to tell you what it's about.
Like I've heard the name thrown around, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody like talk about why they like it. I don't think I've ever seen like TikTok clips of it. Like I don't know what it is.
Why I like it, but that's for another time.
That's for another season of Eeks and Geeks.
Okay, well, but Hannibal is canonically gay, so you should watch it.
Is gay?
Yeah, he's gay.
There's gay.
Okay, he's
Hill
like
House.
Okay.
He's like bi or whatever.
There is gay in Hill House too.
There is.
Is it the main couple of the show?
No.
Wow, side gay characters, real great representation.
Gay characters.
Well,
in Pride Month.
Well, main characters. There's not really. They're all main characters. There's not really like.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's an ensemble cast.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great.
Okay.
Off the rails.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because this is the last one.
We went 5? Is that 5?
That's 5.
Oh wait, you know what the dead bodies reminded me of too is in like Haunted Connecticut when the dead bodies are all hidden in the house.
Never seen it.
Walls.
Haunted Connecticut.
Yeah, on the
yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
If we do paranormal, I'm picking that.
Again.
I just spoiled it, so
don't forget.
Yeah, you'll forget.
Everyone,
I'll forget.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah.
In her continued grief and delusion, Beth continues to feel Owen's presence and begins to break down as she just wants to be able to feel him again. The invisible force from earlier returns, and Beth appears to be able to hold it and kiss it. When she asks the force if it's Owen, he replies that it isn't. Beth walks to the couch and sees Owen himself, but speaking with the voice of some kind of demon that claims it was using Owen to carry out the killings, and that it had its eyes on Beth the whole time. She sees an image in the mirror of Owen attacking and killing another woman. The next morning, she is then contorted into the shape of the statue that we saw earlier. The next morning, Claire goes to the house to look for Beth, but she has taken Owen's boat out and the handgun. Looking like she is possessed and about to kill herself, Claire calls out to Beth loud enough to draw Mel's attention. Claire swims out to the boat just as Beth appears to snap her out of the delusion. She swims back to the dock with Claire to meet Mel. They both attempt to comfort her. Beth looks out to the lake and seemingly still sees the shadow of the demon. But when Mel asks what she is looking at, Beth says it's nothing. Why the fuck would you pull her out of the boat? Why would you pull her out of the boat? Get on the boat with her and row the boat back to shore.
I would have pulled her out of the boat.
Yeah, I would have pulled her out.
Yeah, I would have pulled her out.
If she was like still
that boat
in,
is haunted, bitch. I'm not getting in that thing.
I feel like it would like snap her out of it.
Yeah.
I also think
the water
and going would snap her out of it too.
No, because if you're trying to scramble into the boat, you'd probably tip the boat anyway.
My notes in this section, I said, girl, are we sure this is Owen? Because it knocked you out and put you in a boat last time. Like, girl, I told you it ain't him.
when this very like almost sensual scene with like her and like the invisible.
Like, he's gonna fuck a ghost.
I know, like there is a moment where it's like, is this ghost gonna like bend her over the counter?
I was like, please don't fuck this ghost.
I know, but then when she's like, is it you, Owen? Or is it you? And she's like, and he goes, it's not Owen. And you're just like,
I knew it. I was sitting there, I was like, so bitch, scary. I told your dumbass that's not him.
The scene where she's like being dragged through the house and in every room she's seeing how the women were all killed is such a great shot.
So good.
And then one of my favorite when you see like him like shapes is when she's laying on the couch looking up and like the whole ceiling is just head and you're like
I think my favorite one is in a previous chunk where she sees it in the like the crook of the pillar.
Yes.
And it like turns and you're just like,
yeah, sounds my favorite. This is when my theory, like when he goes, it's not, I was like, this is my theory. I was like, he was possessed. It's possession. And then that was my final, like, nope, I'm wrong.
Yep.
I mean, he's in a way, in a sense.
He was persuaded.
Yeah.
This is so off topic, but I was like, girl, what is this potato sack-ass dress you keep wearing? Her like nightgown thing?
Let her live.
No,
a woman live in a saggy dress.
It's so ugly. It's so ugly, girl.
She's sleeping in it.
Literally, her dinner was brandy. Can you leave her alone?
No. I was like, the fuck is this dress and why do you keep wearing it? It's too short to be a nightgown.
Would you let her live in her cozy jammies?
I'm a hater first and foremost.
I love that we get the explanation of what nothing is without it feeling too like long or like
yes.
Well, you know when movies just like deliver exposition in a way that you're like
okay.
But it is very just like he's saying what has happened, but we've gotten enough little context all the way through that it's like, okay, it's all like you can gather a lot from like, you know, the maybe 5-minute scene or whatever that he's like explaining what he is. And just this like concept of nothing being like the Grim Reaper, like I had you in my clutches and like I don't let shit go. And it's just been like following her whole life. I just think that's like so.
Yeah, it made me think of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Oh yeah, it totally is. It's like the werewolf, like that hunts Puss.
Okay, we all haven't seen it.
Yeah,
that's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler.
It's like the first 15 minutes of the movie. I did love this like concept. It's super original, and I would have never thought of it. Like when they do the whole reveal and he starts explaining, I was like, oh. But it was just kind of like, I don't know, once she started like getting horny with the ghost, my like level of being afraid was kind of like,
Agreed. Like the afraidness went down, but I was still like the level of what the fuck is happening to
yeah.
Oh, I don't agree, because there's that whole, now she knows it's like a physical being, and then she, like, her running through the house and she's seeing the scenes of her husband, but she's also like seeing it all over the house chasing her, and there's this element of like she realizes she can like almost get out of its line of sight and hide from it, is like interesting, because it's nothing and it's nowhere, but it's everywhere at the same time. I thought it was still scary up through the end.
Yes.
Personally.
It's just, it's a crazy movie.
That dude's, Owen's acting was great though.
Oh, yeah.
For being in it so little. Yeah.
Yeah. His like, especially that scene where the two of them are just sitting on the boat and he's just staring at her. He's so unsettling. I was like, take your fucking peepers off of me.
Like,
I hate this.
He's also like so believable there, but then believable as like the cute little husband in all the clips.
He's cute. He's a cute guy. Yeah. Yeah,
he's breaking down the naked old lady stereotype and just being a naked middle-aged man.
He was cheeks out.
Oh yeah.
Standing like Jesus on that water.
He was like, come look out the window.
You want me to perform a miracle for you?
I want to know why did he get naked to like off himself?
He's a ghost.
He was
yeah, why did he? He took off his clothes.
Yeah, he took off his clothes to off himself.
He just felt like it. Listen, you know, when I go, I hope I'm naked.
Same. Go out like I came in, you know?
Yeah, I hope they find me naked on a boat. The way nature intended.
You know?
I love the friend, like, diving in the water. Like, I don't know. I just think there's something so endearing about the friend, like, coming to check on her, and I don't know. She just like, every time the friend was in the
and
scene,
the panic in her voice when she
she's,
sees that the gun is gone. Oh my God.
From the bag. Yeah.
Well, and you know what I loved too, talking about depression, is how much Beth was loved, and she can't even really like see or appreciate it. Like even her neighbor Mel, like he would do anything for her. Her best friend would do anything for her. Her husband sacrificed his life to try to protect her. Like she is so loved, but when you're like really depressed, it's hard to even like see any of that.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was like a nice thing they kind of like put in. Like she's trying to do this on her own and be independent, but she really doesn't have to.
Yeah, like she's not a shitty person. There's nothing that indicates that like people don't like her. She doesn't have a support system. It's like she seems like a great person, and we're just seeing her like in the worst part of her life.
Yeah, it's definitely a real depiction of depression. Like you don't have to have bad things going on in your life to like make you depressed.
Yeah.
You know, I liked the portrayal of it. It was really good.
It was so sad too what conversation was it when somebody was like, oh, did he like have something going on? And she was like, no, I was the one with depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was an interesting conversation.
That also was really rough to hear, because it's like one of those things where she was just like, I didn't know, like, because she was like, I didn't know he was hiding it all because of me. And that's that other element of like, oh no, don't blame yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, was he dealing with something too? And like my own grief was, or like my own shit was like stifling him being able to like process feelings or whatever it was.
Yeah.
No, it was just a demon.
Yeah, just a demon called
good old-fashioned demon, you know.
And I also like how it's still like, just because she got out of this situation, like she could still see it. Like it was still there. Yeah, it's not really like an out of the woods situation. It's like she can still see it there. So like it's a very unclear ending if she like really has escaped it.
I mean, death waits for all of us.
There is someone talking behind you.
Don't sing that.
Turn around.
No.
Yeah, what a great movie. This is one that came out last year that was such a like surprise whammy. Like I feel like it came out of nowhere. It was amazing and like no one really talked about it.
Yeah,
And
I
then
didn't even heard of it.
Yeah, and it was like
No,
that
I'd
was a
never
freaking
heard of
banger.
it.
Yeah, I know Dead Meat did a podcast on it last year, but I didn't watch that one because I didn't see the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
great.
great one.
I love this movie.
Kaisa.
Well picked.
Thank
Well
you.
picked.
Well, now we're about to round out this category with Miss Pumpkin's pick.
Pumpkin.
Why y'all keep saying it like that?
Pumpkin.
Real country.
Pumpkin.
We just
Okay.
spent time in South Georgia, okay?
I'm not from South Georgia. From
I said
North-
we just spent time in South Georgia.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, for my mindfuck pick, I wanted to review a movie that came out. You guys already know what I'm picking.
Yeah.
Movie that came out in 2022. It currently has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics and a 77% from audience, which I think is kind of low. But
I'm surprised. That's actually surprisingly low to me.
we'll talk about it next week. I want to watch Smile.
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, I'm actually like scared to rewatch Smile.
Me
which
too.
is
It's a scary ass movie.
rare for a rewatch to be like,
I
I'm afraid to rewatch it.
I think it will be interesting to rewatch it because I saw it in theaters alone. I was the
Yeah,
only
same.
person in the entire theater, and I feel like I was already scared. I do remember there being like one thing that I was like, that's kind of dumb. But
Yeah.
for the most part, I feel like I remember really liking this movie. So
I really liked it.
curious to see what I'm gonna think.
Yeah, it's another one that's like, I wonder once you know what it is, I wonder when you watch
Yeah.
it at home, like how
Different it is.
Yeah.
impactful it is on the second time.
Little trigger warning though for our listeners. Smile does have a lot of stuff about like suicidal tendencies and depression and that kind of thing. So if you're thinking of watching it, but you're struggling with that kind of stuff, maybe skip that one. Just a little warning for anybody that might need it. It's kind of heavy. It's a little heavy. Yeah.
It's like the most heavy on that movie I have seen in a while.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it again though.
Yeah,
And what
same.
can we watch it on?
Oh shit. Oh
Wow.
fuck. Oh
wow.
Oh damn it.
Wow.
Oh
I don't-
fucking
I
shit.
don't own that streaming
I
platform.
think it's
You've
on.
never heard of it?
No.
So you can watch it on Amazon Prime, or if you have like the YouTube Primetime subscription, Sling TV, and then you can rent it from a bunch of places. I'm gonna watch it on Amazon.
Like
I want to watch
Amazon.
it right now.
Amazon.
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 Burp.
Boop.
Okay. Anyway,
Time us out.
we will see you all next week on Eeks and Geeks. Bye.
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 Bye.